mind the pick here, but I feel like Misfits Premier, it would be fair to say Gorborg had the chance to pivot into some longer range here.
I think they need as well. Like, I think if you remain a melee composition, then you're playing into what Vitality absolutely loves doing as well. But no, they're going to continue. Silas has come through here. So, like, so many melees over on the side of Misfits Premier. And, you know, in that sense, I don't really mind it. They're trying to contest Vitality to be at their best themselves here. But these extended team fights, they have a Yumi themselves. They have a Silas on the other end, the Stiplex. With this Swain, of course. And then, of course, Sugenda with the Na, who gets time to stack up the Na bar. But we're put in a position where supports have not been picked for Vitality B, so Misfits Premier can safely ban away those champions. On the side of Vitality, though, well, we're still missing a top laner, so you can start taking away some of the gangplanks if that's what you're looking for, because if you start banning AD carries, well, then you're also banning out your own champion pool.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like you do. Like you're saying, you need to ban out the top. So the gangplank getting taken away from me, probably quite expected. Do you think you waste it? Not necessarily even waste. Do you put the ban towards the Ornn?
No, I don't think, actually, I think so this is Silas, because of course just go top into the Gnar. We've seen that so many times.
Yeah, that's true.
Both in the LEC and the LFL. I just completely forgot because I've only prepped on 12-14 going into this weekend of LEC. But this time around though, this is still a flex pick from the Silas. Like, this could still be up towards the top side. So Vitality B, they're just banning away the only thing they know, and that's apparently Woolite champions that they don't want to synergize too well with the Yuumi, of course, you know. Switch Yuumi, Tom and Jerry. We all know about it.
Tom and Jerry. So essentially what you're telling me is the Silas on 3 here, we didn't give it quite as enough credit as it actually deserves. It's quite Giga Brain.
Yeah, I think so. I think so for sure. Like, it's just a pivot into the top side of the map, which though means that now you're suddenly playing a skill matchup if you play it into the top side, because it is a long lane, and Silas needs to be in a position where it's looking good for him. So a lot of the Yuumi parents has been taking off the bat. Ezreal is still available if you want to go for the Ezreal Yuumi. That was one of the lanes that was so prevalent when the champion first came out as well. It offers so much safety, and it gives you a way to that late game we quite often talk about with Misfits Premier. So seeing how all of these champions have been just, you know, left, not too much you can go for. And then instead, on the side of Vitality B, I think Jeskla, he's just going to be looking for something that's free scaling. I honestly would love to see them go for Vayne or Kai'Sa here instead. Get that free scaling. You know you're playing into a melee composition. You get free scaling against Ezreal. Going Lucian, I think you just kind of let them move towards the late game. I would much rather see you answer the Ezreal with something that scales for free in the bot lane.
Yeah, I think handshaking is a bit silly here. I just saw them hover it. But in any case, they've locked the Jinx. In terms of a pairing that they're going to be pairing that, we're going to have to see what that is. But you think it's fair to say that kind of in contrast to what we saw initially going into this game, we were expecting Misfits Premier to play heavily towards that bot side. Obviously, you're on the red side, so a lot of the time you want to be going for that R5 counter pick, either in support or in top lane. They've chosen to go the direction of top lane. It is going to be Catskos who's getting the benefit of the draft and potentially going to get played towards as well, because there's Ezreal Yuumi lane. Not necessarily something you look towards strong siding too often.
And it is just going to be Catskos on the weak side again. So there's not actually too many lanes to play for in the early game for Misfits. You can play up towards the top side because Sejuani will actually have kill pressure on the Gnar. So that's something to keep track on once we get in game. But that's usually around the level 6 mark. I think a lot of the teamfight compositions from both teams here actually comes online by level 6. I don't think we should be looking at too many shenanigans. If we are, then it's because Zlatan is looking to evade in places, but I don't think you'll be having the mid lane priority. I don't think you'll be having the top lane priority. So I think the first few minutes of the game, it's not actually too much to expect. I think if anything, it's on Vitality, because I think they have so many prior lanes. So they should be shuffling the map around.
Yeah, completely agree with you there. I feel like if we want to set it back to kind of the expectations we set, where we talked about how Vitality B need to get through their early game, get towards the later, I think it's fair to say they've got quite a few late game champions in terms of the Jinx. They've got the Swain obviously as well. What needs to go well for them? You're talking about this game coming on at 6, so I feel like Misfits Premier don't necessarily have enough to kind of derail the train that is the inexorable destiny of the Vitality B mid game.
That's quite honestly the right question, and we'll answer that once we get in game. But before that, we are just going to throw it to a quick video, and we'll have the game ready.
That was good, Gorborg. See you later. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Game 1, Vitality B versus Misfits Premier. It's your first playoffs matchup in the LFL summer. A lot on the line right now. No lower bracket. Lose this series and you are out of contention for the Thorn Crown of the LFL. It's the Gulborg. Last time these teams faced off against each other, it wasn't pretty for Vitality B.
It most certainly wasn't. But this time around, I genuinely feel like Misfits from year's draft is so much harder to execute. I think they struggle with keeping up with the damage that Vitality B will have in the late game. So if they don't snowball this a little bit, they may be struggling. But then the question comes, well, how do you snowball then? Well, you need to look for skirmishes. And I think through Zlatan specifically on the Trundle. But you need to enable your lane somehow, because I think you're playing a range into melee matchup in the mid lane, so Diplex will most likely push it in, unless Chayek just completely runs into Diplex level 1, takes E, and finds a good trade. That's usually how the Silas get priority. If not, then Sugenda on the Gnar on the top side into Sejuani will also get that. And then there's the Ezreal down towards the bot side with the Yuumi. They should get the push early if Vander is helping with the push in, because it's the range. And then Jack Troll is obviously sitting on the Leona. Her priority really only comes through once that minion determinalizer come online and you can just sap a cannon.
And talk me through this kind of Skin starting red buff here, because traditionally you would have presumed that he'd be pathing towards the bot side. You've got the Jinx Leona into the Ezreal Yuumi, but he's opted into pathing towards the top side. Do you feel like this is predicting the direction in which Zlatan's going, just to kind of create kind of a bit of a traffic jam in terms of some of the tempo he's trying to create on the map?
I think that's one thing, and also just speaking from a bot laner's perspective, if you're in a lane where you know you're going to get pushed in anyway, as a bot lane, you don't mind leashing. So if you can set your jungler up for success further in terms of how fast you can get the clear going, then that's also something you can look for. And specifically when you have a Wukong that really comes online from level 6, remember we were talking about how both teams' composition really wants to get level 6. Well, getting that before your opponent can really give you a window to work around with. So I think it's what you said as well, the fact that they're kind of telegraphing that Zlatan might be pathing up towards the top side, seeing that that's the only way where he'll have that set up so he can play for mid or top. And it's also just the fact that his bot lane is in a position to leash.
Important to note as well, there was a red side ward on that Raptor camp that I believe did not time out by the time that Wukong was there, so they do have knowledge of where he is on the map. Entirely sure whether Zlatan got... I'm not sure if he got spotted out by that ward that's just off of Raptors. I think it just about gives vision, but you can see there's a tiny little pocket there between the bush.
I don't think he got...
Yeah, I think he might have managed to walk past it actually, so he could actually have a really good timer on top side here.
Oh no, Sugenda, he doesn't know. He sees the wards and Raptors and think this is fine. He's going to go for a ward.
Good ward. Catskos is in. Here comes the W. 2 stacks now. One more auto will do it. That's a flash forward with the pillar. One more auto for the stun is all they need. There's a jump. There's the stun. He's gone down with the ignite. One more auto. That's going to be the first blood for Misfits Premier. It's a strike that comes from the lack of vision around the Raptor camp. And there's a rapture in the top side.
And that's just lazy setup. That ward should have been so much further in the Raptors so Sugenda would have the intel. He thought he could go for the crash and he knew, wait, something's wrong. I gotta go and get some vision. But they just didn't spot it. And Sugenda goes down to the first blood on the top side. They knew the Trundle was pathing top, but either way, it still worked.
And first strike here is so important for Team Misfits, because we spoke about how Vitality B, this game comes online at 6. And that spells danger for Misfits Premier, because Vitality B, if you get through to their mid game, they are so very strong. But being able to get an early gank off around the level 3 mark for the top side, so important for Misfits Premier. They've really done well to get that off.
We talked about it. They needed to get themselves ahead in the early game. You don't want to be playing into the late game scaling of Vitality B. Remember, Jinx specifically as a champion, she was nerfed, but she was only nerfed in terms of her early damage. Her late game damage is actually still the same. So when you get past the level 9 mark, you're still looking at the same Jinx, specifically when you get 3 items as well, right? So you want to be able to put yourself in a position where you don't have to deal with that in a time where you're even. So I think for Misfits, as you said, really loving the position they've put themselves in. Remember, Sugenda no flash either, so they're in a position to return gank.
That's really what we're going to have to mind out for. The base has come out from the Trundle. He's gone straight towards the top side. Has that Sheen. Going to be going towards that. Divine Sunder, a Mythic. A little bit of time on the top side. He's now rotating into the bot side, though. He's not going to stick around too heavily. See what he chooses to impact in the oncoming minutes.
But let's look at the vision, right? Because in terms of tracking right now, I wouldn't really say that there's anyone who's doing the most exceptional job at finding them, right? Zlatan could still be lurking around topside. That's why Sugenda is playing so far back, as you can see on the minimap. But I think at least Misfits from here have an idea that Skeens is on the Crocs, just due to the fact that they did come through with the ping. So I think they understand he started bot side. He should be around the bot side.
Well, just due to kind of timers, you know, you saw him on the Raptor camp. You know the direction he's clearing in terms of the quadrant direction. Know that around the 4-minute 15 mark, he should be on the Krugs. It could be the case because he's delayed slightly. Maybe they think he's around the Wolf camp, so he's got a little bit of time to play with. Maybe he can impact the mid lane. But with so much vision in the bot side, it's going to be difficult for him to get anything off. Really, our eyes are just mostly on Zlatan. I suppose they have been in the first couple minutes, but even going forward here, let's see what he's going to do. He's opting towards the bot side here, Gorbog.
Now spotted by the ward.
Spotted by the ward. Jeskler, all summoners available for Vitality bot lane. Here's the W being used by Zlatan. Pillar comes out. Jeskler has to flash away. Woolite E forward. Here's a Q. Ignite comes down. Cleanse use it. Get rid of the Ignite. Jack Troll trading back a little bit. No kill is found, but it's going to mean they can crash this wave. Bit of a big wave, actually. They might choose to just freeze it instead of pushing it. No.
Yeah, but I actually think they're going to shove it in. They're going to put Zlatan on the Infernal Drake instead. Diplex has just been pushed in by Chayek in the mid lane. Because of that, you have mid lane priority. AD carry has just been forced back with Jeskler. And Skeen not in a position to find a counter attack. Actually, it's Kakos with the big top lane priority you had, who moves into the enemy jungle, plays a ward on the Grump, and now they just know fully that they can start up the Infernal Drake. The entire early game has been dictated by Misfits Premier.
Yeah, you can see the trade-off here from Skeens. He knows that the Infernal Dragon is the play here after they crash that wave. So he's going for those topside camps, see if he can get the Raptors and the Krugs. He's obviously propelled himself around 4 camps ahead or so. That's obviously been mitigated slightly by the first blood, translates to around only about 1 or 2 camps he's ahead. Obviously up a little bit of XP as well, but with Shayek defending this, I don't think he's going to be able to get the small ones as well. Not exactly the massive victory you're looking for. You talk about push and pull, you talk about trades being made on the map. Misfits Premier making all the right moves in this early game.
And I also just think that they're setting themselves up for more success as well. Down in the bot lane, no flash on Jeskler, no cleanse. That's a point you can attack again. Chayek as well, if he can continue to try and force Diplex back with some better trades, well, all of a sudden, you can just move your Silas down together with the Trundle. And I think that's really what Vitality B should be worried about. They need more tracking on Zlatan so they know where he's going to attack and they can react to it.
And this is kind of the myriad that can occur whereby you play a jungler that doesn't necessarily clear in a direct full clear. You know, if you skip some camps, it becomes almost impossible after that first clear to know where he's going. We saw this in this game. He went straight back to the Krugs and then cleared downwards, whereas you might expect him to start and go back to the same side. It means that the team have been relatively kind of confused around where he is, where the timers are on the map for him in terms of where he can be. See right now, with the wave being pushed in, they're going to be trying to contest this red buff here.
That's the thing. You have mid prio, you have top lane prio. He's going to be looking to take away his first objective, and he's finally hit that level 6. Remember, that's what we talked about, where they really come online together. Just timed out a mecha. This might get crucial, but no, Skeen's side smites in the way.
It's going to be the way, and I think this is important for Vitality B, just in terms of you, obviously, because you came at somewhat of a deficit in those early games due to that play, obviously the bot side as well. One of the main, you know, kind of green flags for you is the fact that Skeens has propelled himself into an XP lead. I think getting that red buff is good in kind of totaling out the scoreboard between these two junglers right now. He started up the Rift Herald. Upside wave being contested quite heavily by Catskos. We'll have to see who can be able to move. Priority first move was by Diplex. He does miss, unfortunately. And I think it's going to be hard for them to contest. I think this is going to be a Rift Herald that goes the way of Vitality B.
And that's how we wanted it to go initially as well. The only reason, remember, the Misfits from has been able to dictate the pace is because they got the kill on Sugender in the beginning. Usually that matchup is supposed to be dictated by Na in the top lane, but since he died, Kakos got so much extra priority that he could use for checking on Skeen, that they could use to go down towards the bot lane, which Zlatan as well, without having to be worried about his top lane falling behind. And that gave them the space to work around with. Now an even footing when the mid lane finally gets pushed in, when the top side comes back into a position where the Na dictates it, it's easier for Skeens to move around. Outside action.
Aggressive there. Should trade from Moonlight. I think important to note there is in terms of the response, we talked about the push and pull between these two junglers responding on equal maps here. Oh, here's the Yuumi ult that comes out. It does stun up Jeskler. He's been taken down by Vander there for a kill. Woolite, his Skeens with the ultimate. He's going to be taking him down. Yuumi can't provide a heal here. Jack Troll, one more auto will take him out. He has to flash away there. 1 for 1 in the bot side. R2 used by Skeens to farm out the remaining minions here. The action continues to ramp up, Goldborg.
But it's just like really good 2v2 coming through from Vander and Volite. They find a 2v2, and had Skeens not been around in the area, it would just have been a trade favoring them. And that's what we highlighted as well going into this game. The bot side of Misfits from here is where they usually find their leads. And Volite and Vander, they show up again with a great skirmish in the bot lane.
Absolutely. I think an important thing to note there, we took at this replay here. The initial stun from Jack Troll that comes out. Not getting stunned that on return here. And there's a step up here. slightly aggressively. And it's really good from Vander to know that this is go time here in terms of a window. They stun it up into the R here. One final Q. Yeah, it's so much damage. And you know, this is a seasoned bot lane that clearly played the duo matchup a lot of times, because just to be able to know, like, I feel like just looking at that, you would never think that lethal is available, but they just nuke it. Absolutely dropping a titanium bomb upon the heads of the Vitality B bot lane. Like you're saying, if Skeens wasn't there, then that's absolute disaster. I think Jack Troll might even go down there, so he is there. I think one of the downsides of that is obviously that...
Hold it.
Second, Zlatan. There's a pink ward
lane.
here. One Q found. One more W, that's an ultimate. And they find the passive. Jagenda almost has Mega Gnar, has Flash available as well. What will he be using? That's going to be no Ignite. He's in the Mega Gnar now. Didn't even burn to bother to use it. Skeens could not get there in time.
He was still on cooldown, unfortunately, and that's a good timer that they utilize once again. Jagenda falling in the top side on the 2 versus 1, and the vision aggressed. It's just not aggressive enough, and it's good scouting from Misfits from here, knowing where they can move in. They had the setups, Jagenda had the flash, and I mean, he should just have burned that earlier.
Absolutely. I think like if you burn that slightly earlier, it's a completely different play. I wanted to bring attention to just in terms of some of the reciprocation there. One of the problems for Zlatan previously was that the bot lane moved, so he couldn't take those bot side camps, which is what led to this bot lane play, ultimately. But you know, Skeens is getting quite a bit here, Coolborg, and I feel like that is, although Misfits Premier are finding themselves in quite a lead here in terms of some of their lanes, and obviously the Dragon as well. I have to look towards the Mountain Dragon as Zlatan has passed his way towards that. Skeens is quite strong right now, around about 8 CS a minute, 30 CS or so up on the enemy. Obviously already completed that mythic. If it comes down to an extended fight, do you think his item advantage will be enough to tip over the fight in their advantage?
I think it really depends if the Evander is nearby and he does have that heal up, because that can really buy extra monumental time. But if you just find a champion isolated, I think for sure Skeens will take over. And Zlatan, he might find that out for himself in a bit. Yeah, you can see he respects it so much.
Whereas well, Zlatan. 3 pieces for his mythic, but not quite the mythic itself. And I got the he's got the IKEA inventory right now. All the pieces to build the desk, but not quite built the desk yet. The Yuumi ult being used, doesn't stun anyone up yet. Shayak has the Swain ultimate as well. It's the Year of the Wolf from Wu Light. Skeens has the ultimate. It's going to take out Zlatan almost immediately. Shayak as well tries to find Jeskler, but can't quite manage it. It's 2 kills for Vitality B. We spoke about that mythic around the dragon fight. Vander couldn't quite find the heals, provide those extra stats. And the tipping point does come in favour of Vitality B. They're going to put the Rift Herald down as well. And this is going to be the first time in this game that Vitality B find themselves in the lead, Goldborg.
Yep, and the only one who picks up gold from that Rift Herald, that was Skeens. They get the fight, they get 1 kill on the Jinx. Jeskler might be back in the game now as well. Usually Diplex has just finished up the Wildlight's Crystal Scepter as well, and let's see how it starts out, because initially it actually looks good. But Woolite takes 1 step too far back, and they get isolated. Woolite walks over the wall, and when he does that, well, Shayak and Zlatan, they just get put in a position where they're too isolated from their teammates. The damage cannot come through, and the man advantage of Vitality VITB just takes over.
You almost feel as if a bit of a disconnect between, obviously, the jungle and bot lane there in terms of... Yeah, you talked about that slight misstep there that meant that they didn't get anything out of the Yuumi ult, and I feel like it's so important for them. We spoke about it in the last previous exchange between the two. How, you know, you use that Yuumi ult, you get the Ezreal ult, and it's so much guaranteed damage onto a target. They just didn't have that here. When you allow Diplex, obviously now at the level 10 now, got that Rylai's Crystal Scepter, it just creates so much dissonance within the team fight, and they just seem so discoordinated. Uncoordinated.
Jack Troll on a roam timing.
Oh, missed the E. Shayak able to walk away from that. Visions of Empire does not spell Visions of Shayak's Doom.
Not this time, but he had the roam timing. You can see the bot lane shoving in. He can just move down there with Woolite and Wender now pushing in, and then because Diplex all of a sudden can move, well, they have to respect it, and they can't really look for turret damage. So still, you know, nothing is going to amount to too much. What we're really looking at in terms of objectives, it's going to be the Rift Herald. It's spawning in 1 minute. And right now, it doesn't really look like Misfits Premier is in a position to contest it. Kakas does crucially have that teleport, and I think right now he's going to be recalling. He's going to be picking a few items. Yep, TPing back up. And he does have a mythic item advantage against Jagenda. He is a level ahead, and he does have that ultimate. But it looks like Skeens is just going to be in a position where he can solo it up.
It's a case of whether Misfits Premier will be devoting the resources towards stopping this. Jagenda won't have Mega Gnar available if they so choose to. You can see Zlatan. He's cancelled a space from previously, so he obviously has full esoteric knowledge as to this Rift Herald being taken, but they've chosen not to try and stop it. This is going to mean... Oh, I feel like you've used that Rift Herald previously in the bot lane. Is it worth trying to crack open the first turret? Do you try and get that chip damage away on the mid lane to open up the map, Gulborg?
Well, I feel like you just continue in the mid lane. It's an easy setup if you get just again they're moving down there as well. If you get the man advantage, well then either just getting the crack on it, or like
Woolite has cleanse available. Going to be cleansing anything any second now. Has that ultimate. Does go wide onto Jack Troll. Has to cleanse out from the Leona Q there. Jeskla gets flashed on here. One more will do it. Couldn't find the crit though. And Woolite has to flash away. Both summoners burn, but Misfits Premier strike back in the bot lane.
I just feel like it's very discohesive from VitalityB. You've just spent time with your jungler picking up the Rift Herald. You do this uncontested, meaning that you should know that the enemy jungler is going to be down on the bot side before your own jungler. And they just commit to the play. They get way too over-aggressive. Woolite has cleanse. He's got the Yuumi. He's got the mobility. There's no way you make that play work.
A little bit of a, like you're saying there, over-aggression from VitalityB. Fair to say. How much they're going to be punished for it, we're going to have to see. They've got themselves that dragon. We're heading towards an Ocean Soul. Next dragon in 2 minutes or so. Vitality. Misfits Premier have very good vision set up at the moment. They're going to have to continue to keep a stranglehold on that. Obviously, important to note is that VitalityB do have that Rift Herald. They're going to be using that to try and crack open a turret. The first turret still up for grabs. It's going to be a nice bit of an extra gold injection for whoever can pick that up.
God, they have moved their lanes around. You can see it. Double bot lane. In the mid lane now instead, looking for the play again, knowing he does in fact not have that cleanse now. If you want to commit. Woolite with movement though, not getting hit by anything.
What the previous play was for, Gulborg. It was all just to burn the cleanse.
Ah, it makes sense now, you're right.
Yeah, completely. Speaking of things that make sense and kind of return to the natural order, Zanzara's obviously left the team for the big stage on the LEC, but Trundle remains. I feel like a part of Zanzara is still playing today. We're getting spiritual on the cast, Gulborg.
Yeah, I mean, we said it with Slotton though, like, he had to show up individually on the server, and I think he's done what we've asked. Well, you're not able to get an individual advantage against the Wukong. Well, you know, you were never going to get that in the first place. Your role in this team composition was legit to just get your laners ahead, to push together behind. Come into a position where you could scale ahead of your enemy. Unfortunately, then, they've taken some bad team fights, and that allowed Vitality now to get back a little bit.
Zlatan with the ultimate here, with Yuumi on him. Jack Troll's in, but they've stunned that Woolite. Woolite with no cleanse previously has been purified from the rift. Kaskos over the wall now. One more from Jeskla will do it. Zlatan with Yuumi on him. Zayek's in. It's a big Gnar ultimate, but there's no one here to back you up. And that's 4 kills for VitalityB. Misfits Premier are caught absolutely sleeping.
Jack Troll in it to win it. With the exchange he had earlier in the bot side. No cleanse on Ezreal, guys. Go in.
It was just to burn the cleanse, Gulborg. I was completely right.
We get it. No, they bait the enemy forward. No cleanse on the Ezreal. And that's just the team fight we were looking for. VitalityB might have already sealed it with the way that they're finding advantages now. They're so far ahead. And let's have a look at it once again. How it really happened. Because it looks like initially that Skeens is getting caught. But he's quickly moving away. And Jack Troll kind of dodging out on the Yuumi ultimate. But just center blading forward, hanging Woolite out to dry.
It's poor positioning, I feel like, almost to a certain extent. You know, you walk up too far into the Zenith Blade. Big combination of CC that's going to get you rooted up for a few seconds or so, and it's enough to take out Ezreal when he doesn't have those summoners available. It's a great ultimate here from Zayek, but too little too late, you almost feel. There's just nothing here to do any return fire. You have a primary carry. You have to remember a lot of your damage is going to be coming out from the Ezreal anyway. You've got extended skirmish power, obviously, from the Silas, but he's not your main kind of DPS target consistently. Your consistent DPS comes out from Ezreal, so I feel like once Ezreal dies, a lot of this composition lives and dies by Woolite's performance and ability to stay alive, and him not having cleanse there really just spelled absolute disaster.
But then also just the fact that, you know, Ezreal, not the better team fighter. I think we had 680 carry bands coming into this game as well, so he's kind of defaulted to only play the Ezreal, while having a front laner that could facilitate a carry. I think they are really, you know, just reaping what they sow right now in the fact that they don't have that hyper carry like VitalityB have on the Jinx instead. And that might come back to haunt them.
Yeah, and they've sown some seeds that could, you know, blossom into beautiful flowers. They've got 2 dragons. You're potentially able to pick up a penultimate soul condition in 4 minutes or so, but VitalityB have definitely zoomed themselves in front. The lead racer here, 5 laps into the game.
Let's chime in back, because I agree with you. They have a soul win condition, right?
Yeah.
And that's totally fair.
It is their soul.
But they're already 3K.
SOLE.
Okay. SOLE. You're a bit of a comedian. I actually had to think about that one for a second before I got it.
It's a bit of wordplay. I'm torturing you a little bit because Danish is your first language, but you know what we do here. Bit of
Either way.
I'm the Wordle.
Either way.
I'm the Wordle for you every day.
Thank you. Either way, I do believe that coming back from this is going to be really difficult because
100%.
a lot of it is going to come from objective, right? You won't have that same laning phase you can punish on. Now the map has evolved. Now the movement will start coming through. More vision will be put in towards your enemy jungle. As you can already see, Jack Troll right now is establishing. And knowing where they're always going to be is going to be a problem for Misfits from here to find their points of attack. Because even if their bot side is not warded, well, if they have full control on the top side, then by just the process of elimination, they'll know that the enemy will be on the bot side.
It is kind of that Where's Waldo style of jungle trekking. He can only be where he's not going to be. Think about that sometimes. Vitality B, though. I feel like they've... Sorry?
No, go on.
You've completely thrown me for one there, Corborg. Completely Speaking of derailing the kind of the inexorable destiny that we spoke about in the pregame of Vitality B when they get to that mid game, we've arrived at that point. You've completely derailed my train of thought. In terms of, we spoke about early game, how good it was for Misfits Premier that they found themselves here. It almost feels as if not quite a large passage of time has passed and Vitality B have just kind of rather unscrupulously dictated themselves and dethroned the early game lead that Misfits Premier had built themselves. Where did the downfall come from Misfits Premier? What did they need to do better in this game?
I think for Misfits, for me, it's just about... I think it came back to the draft as well, honestly. I think they put them on a little bit on the back end of that side. That's going to be on the coaching position at least, kind of realizing what works in this in terms of the playmaking that Slotan obviously have on the Trundle. But also just in turn then, well, did it matter we got our Sejuani ahead against Agenda? Right now, it doesn't really feel like it. And they're getting aggressive again.
Jack Troll in. They're trying to find Wu. Lights the flash forward with the Zenith Blade, but it doesn't miss. He goes over the wall, doesn't burn Cleanse. To burn that, but here's Agenda on the flank. That's going to be a lot of money going straight to the bank. Double kill for Skeens. He's going further in now. Zlatan autoing himself away there. 2 more kills further. The Baron is available. They're going to be beelining straight towards that R Vitality B. Misfits Premier caught sleeping once again. Wu-like. 3 deaths and 3 times crucially falling, having to burn both summoners. And every time this happens, you just feel as if the next fight is guaranteed to go the way of Vitality B. Might have something to say it though. Cat Scott is going to be standing up Jack Troll. Here comes Zlatan. Trundle is going to get taken out by Diplex. This is going to be a double kill for Diplex. Agenda, Shayek's in with the Silas ultimate as well, trying to find Jeskler, but he flashes over the wall. He's in further. Conqueror's stack. They're just ignoring him. They're straight onto the Baron. He's trying to find Jeskler. He autos the blast cone away. He's in onto Shagenda now with the Mininar. Keeping him at range, tethering him rather nicely. He ease away. Playing a little bit of game of ballet here, but all dancers will never dance again. Guilty feet have got no rhythm. Shayek does die there. 38 seconds of a grey screen for him is all he'll be granted from that team fight. And Vitality B find themselves the Baron.
Misfits knew they had to try and go in and find that steal. Vitality gets the Baron, game is over. They get it anyway now. So we are properly in a position where we are looking to see Vitality closing out this. But I mean, it's kind of once again going back to what they had. If Vitality B gets away with the Baron here, if they start setting up, well, all of a sudden there's not much you can do in Misfits composition. You are just outscaled at this point. Drake is now spawning. Vitality B's quick, back with the Baron buff, and I don't think they can fight it.
Warburg has said Quack. They're going to have to duck Goose from this one if they want to get out of it. Wu-like, no summoners available. Gets taken down almost immediately. Katskos and Zlatan trying to do something here. Shutdown's granted onto Skeens. Zlatan gets taken down. Jessica's got a reset. He's in. They're up against the wall. Vitality B taking a further few kills here. It's a double kill for Jeskler. It's another kill for Diplex. And it's a further foot in the throat of Misfits Premier as their chances are dwindling in this game. Second Dragon for Vitality B. 16 kills now in 24 minutes. Misfits Premier have absolutely dropped the ball in this game and the game has been absolutely taken out of their hands.
I would have to take a massive mistake from Vitality B for Misfits Premier to come back into this game. And I think that's the only thing we're looking on. That's all Misfits Premier preying on. Vitality needs to be the team making a mistake. As we got here. Oh, interesting. Now moving down. what happened on the map. They got the bot lane second turret. I think they got the mid lane tier 2 turret as well. And they're just in okay, here we go. Replay coming through.
The fight. This is the fight that led to the Baron here previously. We look at this. Has the flash away from the last tick would have stunned him up here, but unfortunately you've got Shigenda waiting on for you on the other side. You almost feel as if the constant barrage of ultimates coming towards you feels like ironic overkill at that point. It's the 2 kills that do lead to the Baron here, and I feel like this is just not the beginning of the end, because I feel like the warning signs for Misfits Premier have existed for 5 minutes prior to this. But this fight very much nails in the coffin at a certain point. You see Zlatan gets immediately stunned up here, and now begins the long ballet dance for Chayek, where he somehow survives for about 40 seconds here. But the rest of the team just ignore him entirely. They're just going towards the Baron. They're going to be finishing it off. He tries to find Jeskler, comes close, and the second it looks almost immediately dangerous is when they take him out.
And once again, desperation at that point. They know if the Baron go over, game is most likely over, which is why they decide to take the next fight as well. This is a very long replay. I wonder what's going on live right now.
A very long replay. Look at Skeens, flashes forward. Doesn't quite manage to find Wu Light, but the R2 does. And he gets taken out just about there. Uses his stasis as well. Shayek does well here on the side here to take out Skeens. But from this point, we talked about the consistent DPS that Wu Light puts out. This composition lives and dies by him. So you see that's why so many resources are being devoted towards that. We actually didn't get to see. Somehow, Jack Troll was taken out previously in exchange.
Yeah,
Gonna have to speculate. How did Jack Troll die, Goldborg? Wrong answers only.
Find it on
Wrong
the map.
answers only.
Can you see it on the map real quick? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, I can't find his skull. Okay, he died very far forward over at the enemy. He was trying to put down a ward without his teammates around. He got caught off guard, and he got an ultimate from Zlatan on top of him, which kind of just nullified the stats of the Leona, and he died. That's what happened.
I think that might be a right answer. I specifically asked you to do wrong answers only. We're meant to speculate and come up with something.
Oh, he walked into the enemy fountain then.
Oh. Yeah, no, I think that's good. Good one, Goldborg.
Thank you.
No worries. Speaking of getting back to reality now, you know? Mom spaghetti and all of that jazz. The reality of this game is that Misfits Premier are hard pressed to come back, I think it's fair to say. We just set expectations. 9k down, you almost feel as if the precipice is upon Vitality B to make the mistakes that will lead them to a disadvantage or a deficit in this game. 2 dragons, obviously the Baron's timed out now. What do they need to play towards to really get this game done and dusted?
It would have to take a lot, okay? It would have to take a lot. For Vitality B, oh my god. What happened, Jake?
We're all replays today. I feel like we're living in the past. Have you seen that movie with it's the movie where they're solving like a mass event that happened, but like one of the guys just has the ability to like look back in the past. Someone in chat will know what I'm talking about. I feel like Liam Neeson's in it for some weird reason.
If anything, I would say Memento in terms of like we're looking.
It's not Memento, but speaking of Mementos, Jack Troll going to be getting taken as a potential Memento in the holiday in the jungle that Misfits Premier are taking at the moment. Couldn't quite manage to find him though. He takes a blast cone out.
And currently from a map state right now, Vitality could just push down the mid lane.
Like might have to burn. He just has to burn cleanse here, and that's just what did he cleanse?
The fear, the aggression. He tried to.
Did he cleanse Gnar Q slow? Can you cleanse that?
Yeah, you can cleanse the slow, and now Genda looking for it again.
He's had to E away here. Going to get hit by the Wizards of Empire. Has to flash away from Skeens, but the R2 should hit. Yumi E does get him a little bit of space out here. But is he engaged here? Zlatan, Jessica's in the stun. It's a massive ultimate from Chayek against the wall, though. Shut down onto Jinx now. Zagenda's got Wu Light up against the wall now, but he's getting healed so much now. Wu Light needs to come and help the rest of his team, though, because they're getting taken out by Skeens and Diplex. He's got to divulge some of his attention forward. You see Zlatan gets taken out by Diplex. So much healing. Zagenda does a good job at keeping Wu Light distracted, keeping the consistent DPS taken away here. Katskos gets stunned up in here. Looks for an ultimate. Going to get taken out eventually, though. Jack Troll is taken out in response here. What can you do here? Wu Light, Q's priming here. Not much more, but it is going to be a 3-4-3 at the end here. Feel like we were saying.
Not worth it in the end whatsoever for Vitality B. You can't just be throwing the ball like this, overextending for Woolite. And had Diplex not been in that position, that would have just been your entire team thrown to pieces by Chayek. Let's see how it goes again, because they have no vision on the bot side. They have no idea they're being flanked. And all of a sudden, they just go so ham. Everyone flashing forward. Jessica no flash now. Skeens no flash now. You've just thrown your AD carry into the front line. Massive fumble by Vitality, and luckily for them, Diplex is in a position to just do massive AoE damage on multiple members.
Yeah, and I feel like time and time again we talk about how you can kind of understand where the ham comes from in terms of just feel like constantly in this game the go button has been Wu-Light burning the summoners. He burns the cleanse previously, has to burn the flash there. You think at that point that's go time, but unfortunately they do get a little bit too aggressively. This fight could have gone even worse for Vitality B if Jigenda didn't kind of...
Why Stippler?
Jigenda basically, in the face of Wu-Light, who was the bull, basically represented a red piece of carpet there, because he basically just stood in front of Wu-Light, and Wu-Light was unable to kind of impact in terms of a DPS output onto the rest of the members there. So this fight could have gone a lot worse, because I feel like if you had Wu-Light putting out that DPS onto the members here, for example, the remaining members of Vitality B, it wouldn't have been an even fight, and I think MSFP would have potentially been able to take that for a clean ace, maybe even.
Diplex has just respawned, Vicious have been lined up, members of MSFP have just reset, Vander, Wu-Light not in a position to contest, and Vitality B have just started up. Yeah, Slotten, no flash either. It's just gone, as you said.
It's completely unable to contest it really here. They might look for a fight on the back end of it. Catskos going to get stunned up here though. It's going to be Jack Troll with the Zenith Blade. He's doing so much damage. That's the LDR coming out as Catskos has to try and queue over the wall. Zlatan is taken out as well. It's 2 kills, and I feel like you didn't get there in time. You sacrificed. It's going to be an E forward and a Yumi ult from Wu-Light. This could be a desperation play. You get Jeskler, but you've sold Vander up an absolute river. This is complete desperation play from Misfits Premier.
Yeah, go for it. Child still trying to deny the minion wave at least, but not able to.
They're just going to go bot lane.
It's just over at this point. Vitality B should be looking to pick up the first game in our best of 5 against Misfits Premier here.
Very confusing, because Misfits Premier, look, they put priority towards that third dragon to potentially hold out. You have to think the logic is to hold out there for a potential soul. Maybe they can weather the storm of the Baron and just play that wave control if they can. You have the Ezreal, it's around about all you have, so it's going to be difficult, but they then make the very strange choice to go for a fight. You see that the E forward from Wu-Light to take out Jeskler. And it feels as if they just wanted to get to the next game as quickly as possible.
Honestly, as it felt like as soon as they lost the first Baron, Misfits Premier just decided to say, you know what, any fight we can get, we'll take it. Just team fight, team fight, team fight, team fight.